In my last video, I talked about the recent discovery that a Nintendo editor working at IGN, Philip Mewson, plagiarized his review for the newly released Dead Cells. More specifically, the review was ripped off of YouTuber Boomstick Gaming, who uploaded his video review on July 24th, 2018, and woke up 2 weeks later on August 6, 2018, to find that the review IGN published was uncannily similar in terms of wording and structure. To prove his case, he uploaded a video doing a side-by-side comparison between his review and IGN's, and yeah, I mean, it starts off a little iffy, but by the time the comparison concludes, it's pretty cut and dry.
Dead Cells figures out an intriguing way to have your roguelite and Metroidvania experience all in one by focusing on your failures and urging you to try something new the next time.
Dead Cells strikes a perfect and engaging balance between the Metroidvania and roguelite experiences by focusing on your failures and urging you to experiment each time you do fail.
After accusations of plagiarism very quickly began to spread, IGN swiftly responded by removing their written and video review from their website while leaving a message assuring that the concerns have been heard pending investigation. Boomstick Gaming also talked to website Forbes, stating that while he doesn't want to see Philip Mewson fired and harbors no ill will against the perpetrator, he would like to be cited, collaborated with, and compensated for the ad revenue IGN pulled in from their plagiarized written and video review. Since all this has happened, it's been quiet on IGN's front for a few hours, with many waiting to see what they would deliberate after they finished conducting their investigation. Finally, on August 7th, 2018, at 7:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, IGN detailed in a Twitter post what their investigation yielded and what actions have been taken in light of their findings. The post reads as follows. We have reviewed the allegations against one of our writers regarding our review of Dead Cells. After taking the time to investigate, we have determined that there were substantial similarities between a review posted weeks earlier and our review that could not be justified and warranted taking down. Though we as a community often share feelings and even certain word choices to describe the games we love by using similar frames of understanding, this particular situation stepped over the line and is not a reflection of our editorial standards. We apologize to our readers, developer Motion Twin, and most especially the YouTuber known under Boomstick Gaming for failing to uphold those standards. We take our review process seriously. In most cases, reviewers are expected to play a game single player or story campaign to completion at least once, as well as spend additional time capturing gameplay to supply content to the video component of our reviews. Though our Dead Cells reviewer played the game and came away with glowing opinions of it, as did many of our other staff members, the review itself was simply not acceptable. We have parted ways with the writer involved in the review, and we will be re-reviewing Dead Cells this week. We will work tirelessly to ensure that. Regardless of whether you agree with our reviews, you can have faith that every word is nothing less than the genuine opinions of our critics. Nothing is more important to us than your trust. So, I know that no matter how IGN apologizes, all of this is going to mark a permanent stain on their reputation, and they're going to get a lot of shit for this for many years to come. But to their credit, I think the website dealt with all of this in the best way they could under the circumstances. They were quick to pull the review after accusations began to spread, and within hours they made a very clear, swift, and correct deliberation while apologizing to those affected. I've said this before, but it's highly doubtful IGN colluded as an organization to plagiarize someone else's review. It's safe to say that these were the underhanded actions of one renegade writer. The only mistake IGN made was hiring Philip in the first place, but even then, there was no way for them to know that Philip would resort to plagiarism or that his Dead Cells review was plagiarized before he was given the okay by his editors to publish it. Some will argue that there are tools out there IGN could have used to check if the article was derived from someone else's work, but plagiarism is much harder to detect when it's adapted from non-written formats like YouTube videos, especially when we're dealing with smaller outlets like Boomstick Gaming, which had a little over 11,000 subscribers before this debacle. That's what Philip was most likely and very foolishly counting on, that by stealing from someone who wasn't very significant or prominent, his misdeed would go undetected. But he vastly underestimated the power of social media and got caught with his pants down instead. And in doing the shitty thing he did, he not only compromised his own livelihood and reputation, he did the same for the company he represented and everyone in it. Kids, this is why you do not plagiarize ever, especially when you're working for one of the most prominent video game news outlets in the world. There's a reason why high schools and universities place such a heavy emphasis on citing your sources in your papers. The smallest whiff of plagiarism is enough to completely discredit your work. In the case of Philip's review, though, it was far beyond just the small whiff. He literally pulled the copy homework and change a few words around maneuver. It's shocking that he thought such blatant infringement would go undetected. By the way, if you still have doubts that what Philip did does constitute as plagiarism, just look at the transcript that Boomstick Gaming put together in the descriptions of his comparison video. Notice how it's not just the sentence structures that match perfectly, it's the structure of the review as a whole, as indicated by how both reviews share very similar timestamps and checkpoints for the identical points that are brought up. It's not just the choice of words, but also the beat-by-beat timing that makes this such damning evidence and such a clear-cut case. I'll do you one better. Turns out that this isn't Philip's first rodeo with plagiarism. It was recently pointed out to website Kotaku that Philip Mewson had previously plagiarized bits and pieces of Nintendo Life's review of FIFA 18 for Switch, published on September 29th, 2017 for his own video review, uploaded 2 days later to his personal YouTube channel on October 1st, 2017, which has since garnered almost 600,000 views. Kotaku posted transcripts comparing the two reviews, and if you take a moment to pause the video and read through them, I think you'll agree that the similarities are incontrovertible. So yeah, I mean, what more is there to say except that Philip had this coming? From the looks of it, he's been able to get away with pulling shit like this for some time, but it's only now that he's shown his true colors on an outlet as big as IGN that he finally got caught and that he'll finally pay dearly. Here's hoping that he learns from this experience, that he comes to understand the seriousness of his actions, and that he strives to proceed with some semblance of integrity moving forward. But more importantly, I sympathize with media outlets who have been affected by Philip's actions, whether we're talking about IGN and how their reputation was marred by elements they couldn't fully control, whether we're talking about Boomstick Gaming and how his work was almost taken advantage of, or whether we're talking about Nintendo Life, whose work was successfully taken advantage of. Here's also hoping that for this particular incident, IGN and Boomstick Gaming stay in touch and reach an amicable resolution where both sides can happily move forward. Most importantly, for anyone out there who is remotely considering plagiarizing someone else's work, let this serve as an important cautionary tale. But hey, on the upside, Boomstick Gaming did procure 20,000 subscribers and over 400,000 views in one day. So all things considered, not the worst outcome for him, I'd say. With that, I would like to end this news update and discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.